site currently on the South Umpqua River adjacent to Stewart Park. That was a former site of a wastewater treatment plant. Identify that as a site of the proposed South Umpqua River water treatment plant and river intake. Apply for winter water rights at the proposed location of that future intake. Again, those are long-term recommendations. Going on with the long-term recommendations, monitor the stored water purchase activity in the Galesville Reservoir, and discuss with Douglas County lower cost options to acquire and or reserve stored water, and purchase the storage at or before a time when the second source is being developed. You still have quite a bit of time before you need to think about that, but developing water supply takes time, and it is prudent to be thinking about these things well in advance. And also complete a study on aquifer storage and recovery. There are a lot of unknowns with such a system in this area, and within 10 years it would be wise and prudent to explore those possibilities and see if there are any possibilities for the city to pursue that water management tool. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Phil to talk about the water treatment plant preliminary design report.
Well, thank you, Chris. Just to give you a little bit of background about the plant, I'm sure many of you are aware of it, but it was designed and constructed in 1985 to 1992. The plant replaced an antiquated 10 million gallon a day plant, and it was a phased construction program on a pay-as-you-go financing plan, primarily paid out of cash from the city water fund operations and a surcharge on your folks' water bills. That new 12 MGD plant came online in 1992. It's a conventional treatment plant using rapid sand filters, and it was planned for expansion to 18 million gallons a day. Provisions are made in the plant and the site to readily expand that plant. So the city commissioned us to do the water treatment plant preliminary design report, and just an overview of what we did. We assessed the historical plant performance, and the plant is operating very well. The plant operators are doing a great job. We reviewed current treatment regulations and compliance. The plant's in full compliance with all current regulations. We verified plant capacity and assessed the physical condition of the plant, which is about 18 years old now, so it has a bit of age on it. We analyzed critical treatment processes, looking at current technology, and particularly that focused on whether you should continue with rapid sand filtration or possibly look at membrane technology, which has been developed in recent years. We developed recommendations and an implementation plan for improvements and plant expansion, and then prepared cost estimates for the recommended work. Specifically on regulatory compliance, we recommended a tracer study, which essentially looks at the efficiency of the disinfection, and that was completed last month, and those results were favorable. We recommended continuation of monitoring for cryptosporidium in your raw water, which is a requirement of EPA, and you're very fortunate to, again, those results were favorable, and you have an excellent raw water quality, and so the treatment process that you have now is very adequate for the removal of cryptosporidium. The third regulatory issue was fish screening. You will not have those requirements until you expand the plant to about 16 million gallons a day, and then as part of the plant expansion, you'll need to upgrade your fish screening to meet current requirements. So our recommendations and implementation plan continuing on. We had other immediate actions to recommend. There's some facility condition improvements that we recommended, along with development of a capital maintenance plan and budget that was requested in our scope, so that your staff could budget for equipment replacement and those kind of short and medium term ongoing capital maintenance items. We recommended expanding the plant using the planned conventional rapid mix filtration technology. That's certainly the most economical. It meets all current and projected future regulation requirements, and then we recommended expanding the plant to 18 million gallons a day, that planned expansion. And we said 2009 to 2012, but over a 3-year period. And then in about the early 2020s, 2023 or 24, we recommended expanding the plant from 18 million gallons a day to 22 million gallons a day. And through our work, we were able to see that the plant could be expanded beyond its nominal 18 million gallons a day that had originally been planned. There's enough conservatism in the planning and design that, and with upgraded improvements to the process, could be expanded up to 22 million gallons a day. And this gets back to Chris's point about water rights. You don't have the water rights for that 22, so it's an important aspect to be working on getting those water rights, more water rights into that site. And then we recommended considering acquiring property for the expansion when you go from 18 million gallons a day to 22 million gallons a day. But again, that would depend on technology at the time, and so you could evaluate that acquisition time of expansion. So in terms of cost estimates, the near-term project cost estimates, we had regulatory compliance and immediate plant work of a little over $100,000, a plant expansion to 18 million gallons a day of about $7.6 million. And then if you chose to buy the property, it would be at least $250,000 or more. We recommended some existing water rights actions, administrative actions at the Winchester site, and those have mostly been taken care of, although there are some ongoing administrative actions that are being conducted right now. We recommended acquiring more rights on the North Umpqua Basin. There would be substantial costs associated with that if you chose to go in that direction. We recommended updating your water master plan and CIP, and that work is underway and soon to be completed. We recommended a water conservation and management plan, which is required by the Oregon Water Resources Department, for about $35,000. You're deferring that until you are actually required to complete that plan. Chris mentioned the expanding the water conservation program, and the scope of that would need to be developed, so there are no costs associated with it at this time. Similarly with the non-potable water systems. And in terms of the South Umpqua water supply system, there are low-cost administrative actions you can be taking now that Chris mentioned, acquiring a winter water right, designating the plant site, working a bit with the county on raw water purchase out of Galesville. So in terms of the long-term costs, then as Chris mentioned, the groundwater and aquifer storage and recovery study, that's about a $60,000 effort, doesn't need to be done immediately.